All right, beautiful people. So good to have you back. For those of you who have listened before, I am super grateful to have you back. For those of you who are just joining, I am determined to leave you with something of value, leave you better than I found you. So it is wild. I never thought I'd be able to say maybe cancer is a gift. I have cancer. I have a throat cancer. And the best thing about this whole thing is it's really given me the ultimate test of can I walk the walk? Because sometimes, I believe so much in everything I say, all these philosophies I have, all this morning routine I've created, all these ways of living, the personal constitution. But when you're really tested is when you find out, is it a bunch of blah, 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 or does it really work? And I am so grateful and honored to say it works because I am so peaceful. And, just to bring you up to speed a little bit on this journey. And by the way, this is not, oh, I have cancer, I'm a victim. Never. And you will never hear me say I'm a cancer survivor because that's a label I'm not interested in. I don't like labels in general. This is a moment in time. This is life. This is what happens. People that love me, I'm so honored and grateful. They say, oh, why you? And I think to myself, why not me? Why anybody, right? I mean, it's like, it is just what it is. And that is the first way I approached this. So the story is, it's really wild. So about 2 months ago, I wake up, I'm spitting blood, and I'm like, well, that's not a good thing. So then I go into the doctor, and sure enough, the second she looks in my mouth, yeah, that's throat cancer. I'm sorry, there's no way around it. She took a biopsy 2 days later, confirmed, yes, it is. But then here comes the scary part. So they say, well, we should get a C scan for your chest and your neck, make sure it hasn't, metastasized, spread. And they get the scans and they say, this is not good. Your neck's fine, but for some reason it appears to be all over your chest. So, then I get a PET scan and they said, the PET scan will really, confirm. And I get this PET scan and my entire chest is lit up. And 3 different doctors said, yeah, it's cancer. Like it's all over your chest. We don't know what else it would be. It doesn't make sense that it would be anything else. We need to schedule a biopsy so we can figure out what kind of cancer it is, so we can figure out, what we're going to do. So this is where the test starts to come into play. So I find this out. And I get on the phone, I'm in the car, it's a rainy day, I still remember it. And, I'm crying, I'm talking to my daughter and then my son and my wife and, we're all crying. And coincidentally, I'm on the way to a podcast with this amazing human, Victoria Garrick, Real Pod, it's called. I love her. I love what she does. The most transparent, amazing, woman was an incredible athlete, still is. And, reached out to help so many people in this world. So I was scheduled to be on her podcast and I'm like, there's no way I'm just not going to show up now. I need to walk the walk. I say I'm here to help other people. This is my goal, to spread joy in a 20-foot radius wherever I go. Well, I need to do it then. So I pulled over to CVS. I got some Visine. I got some breath mints. I got some Kleenex. I took a minute and it was maybe one of the most rewarding moments in my life because I had the love of my family. I sat there in my car, the rain hitting the roof. And I said, you know what? I've always said the true test of your life is that you can say, for me, if I die tomorrow, it's okay. My last words will be thank you with a smile. And I looked in the rearview mirror at my red eyes and I said, I can do that. Like, if this is it, if this is the end of me, because it's a combination of the way they made me feel about it with the chest and what was going on. It was like, it was a real moment of like, oh my gosh, like, could I die? And I said, I will say thank you. I have checked the list. I have lived a life of no should haves, would haves, or could haves. I've lived an authentic life of just do it, make it happen, enjoy life. And it felt so good. And I got this breath of fresh air and I went into the podcast, and by all means, if you haven't, please check that out on Real Pod. It was a great moment. So some of the lessons I got from this are, I went into that. Well, now here's the good news. So the good news is my family and I had to live for 3 weeks with, thinking that like I could be terminal stage 4. This is crazy stuff all over the place. I go down into surgery. I come to from the surgery and the doctor's standing over me and he goes, "It's not cancer in your chest." I will never forget that day or the rest of my life because it was like literally the weight of the world lifted off of me. So now all of a sudden, I'm just super grateful to have throat cancer. Like, woo, this is cancer light. All I have is a tumor. Let's bang this out. It's funny, but that's a lesson in life in general, right? It takes the worst, worst, worst to make you be grateful for just the regular bad. So, now here I am with, just throat cancer. So, and I'm doing my treatments. And so I have 35 days of radiation, 7 weeks of chemotherapy. But everything in life is about how you choose to look at it, right? So the first thing I did was I said, okay, what are all the advantages to having cancer? Why would it be, what's the best possible thing it could be? Because, this tattoo on my wrist right here, amor fati, it's a Stoic philosophy, meaning, some people just hope that nothing bad happens. Others will just kind of deal with it if it happens, but they'll always be going, why me? Why did this happen? But the ultimate goal with amor fati is to not only accept what happens to you, but welcome it, to believe that it's meant to be, that it is part of your journey. And that was my first moment of personal growth and success is that I accepted that. I'm like, listen, if this is what I got, this is what I'm going to deal with. So the first thing I did was, I'll share some with you. I said, okay, I'm going to do, the top 10 reasons why it's great to have cancer. Because I said, this is the way I want to look at it. So number 1, it's temporary no matter what. Whether it's terminal or whether it's getting cured, it's temporary. I mean, think about all the people in this world that suffer through personal handicaps and challenges that are forever. Number 2, just when I thought I couldn't love my family and life anymore, I do. And I mean, I really haven't left anything on the table, but yet the depth of love as my family has come together has been unbelievable. Number 3, I get to meet an entire new group of amazing humans that save lives. And sure enough, that's exactly what's come to fruition in the last 2 weeks of treatment is just every day going into these buildings and seeing the amount of people working hard to save lives, to be of service. Number 4, it's a reminder of how blessed we are to have such a high level of care right here. I live in Los Angeles and 10 minutes away, Cedars-Sinai, one of the greatest cancer institutions on earth. I had the privilege of meeting the tumor board and the people at UCLA for a second opinion. Amazing humans, amazing doctors, right here at our fingertips. Number 5, another opportunity to be reminded how lucky I am to have a life. It's only when, something's taken away that you stop and go, now in a perfect world, doesn't have to be taken away for you to appreciate it. And that's what I'm proud of. But on the same token, it's a moment to really just go, how lucky am I to even be alive? The next one, discomfort is a healthy reminder of how comfortable I normally am. Like, I'm just thinking, wow, normally the challenges are, oh, what should I cook today? What am I going to eat? Oh, my neck's a little sore from working out. It makes you appreciate so much. I mean, the discomfort is a gift because I'm going to get through this and I'm going to be even more grateful for health and for the daily ease of life that normally exists. And then the next one, of course, which this whole podcast is about, I get to practice what I preach at a high level. This is an amazing opportunity to not just be spewing at you guys every week about, all these life philosophies and the circle of control, but to actually practice it at the highest level, which has been an incredible challenge and incredibly rewarding. The next one, I may be lucky enough to inspire someone else on dealing with big obstacles. And if you're out there right now listening and you have cancer or you have some fatal disease or you have some challenge or sickness, I really hope, let me know, because there's nothing I want more than to maybe have this help you get through what you're getting through. And another one, I'll have a great last chapter for my book coming out. So my lifetime real estate coach, Steve Shell, and I are writing a book on mindset. And it's so ironic that we're almost done with the book. And now here I got this cancer. So What a great last chapter. What a great way to just solidify the importance of mindset in your life. And the last one I put, and this is when I thought it was going to be a lot worse. If it is the end, how lucky am I that I can get things in order and make sure my family is set? And that was huge for me because it's like the people that just, get taken from us with no notice. It's like, I can't imagine what that's like. You just don't even get a chance to say goodbye. You don't even get a chance to get things in order. I mean, my family is my driving force, and to know that I can set them up for success is everything to me. So that was my top 10. And then in addition to that, what have I done? So I have focused on the circle of control, right? That's this whole podcast is about. So what is in my control? I am very proud to say I have not Googled once in this whole 2-month process, not once, because I know that that's just going to be things outside my circle of control. They're going to create anxiety and worry like, oh, geez, could it be that? Wow, this says that. And you go into this rabbit hole. So no, I didn't Google one thing. What is in my circle of control? To listen to the doctors and be a good patient. Do my full routine. It is unbelievable how many things have to go into place. One being nutrition. So, I'm cutting way back on sugar. I'm eating the healthiest stuff while I can still chew. I'm in week 2 right now, starting week 3 next week. Supposedly it gets towards smoothie zone because you can't really chew as well and swallow as well. The throat gets really bad. So diet, that's what I can affect. I hired a trainer back that I used to have. I've always worked out 6 days a week, but now I hired a trainer and I'm going super hard with this guy. I mean, the other day I had an hour and a half of sleep. My mouth it's like getting a 3rd-degree sunburn in your throat with this radiation. And I got up anyway. I went to the trainer anyway, and I am determined to come out of cancer more ripped and healthy than when I went in, and it's that physicality that not only is going to keep me focused on something motivating, but it's going to help my body heal and recover. I'm sober. And for all of you that are sober out there, wow, I am so honored to have a page in your book because there's a magic to it. I mean, the money you save, the clarity I have. I've always gotten up early, 5:30. I've always done my morning routine. But now I realize that there were some mornings I was definitely doing it out of oomph, like pushing myself through it. But now that I'm sober, it's like I get up just twice as clear. And that sobriety has really helped to offset the diminishing qualities on the body of cancer. So that's been an incredible opportunity. That's in my circle of control. I'm riding my motorcycle to what I call my healing raise session. And again, words matter. How you frame this matters. I have it in my calendar, healing raise. I'm not calling it radiation. I'm calling it healing raise. And it's the way you look at everything. When I lay on that table and they put this mask on me and they bolt it down, clip it down to the table, and it's, you want to get claustrophobic. What I do is I go into meditation. All these years of meditation have saved me. And I picture that like I'm a superhero. I'm the sun walker. I am being injected with these healing rays. And now I believe that I can go hug anybody and heal them. That's what's running through my body. And that has made it so much more invigorating and easier to tolerate than looking at it as radiation and chemotherapy and this heaviness. I'm riding my motorcycle there so that I can feel normal, until I can't. My amazing wife is taking good care of me. My daughter's in town. My son's here. And, I have amazing friends, all of you, any of you listening. I love you and I'm so grateful for you. But, I'm determined for as long as I can to be as normal as I can until, I need help, and then I'll take it. Another thing that's in my circle of control, on the bathroom mirror, which some of you may know from past podcasts, my wife and I have always made these love notes. This tattoo on my arm here of us hugging with a heart. I've written that on the mirror for her for years and years, so I finally got a tattoo of it. But we're always leaving each other little notes. So I created this huge note on my side of the mirror with the countdown of days of the healing rays and of the chemo, and, motivating notes for myself. I will survive. I will thrive. I will heal. And again, I want to be very clear, like now that it's just the throat cancer, 90% success rate, like this, they've got this down. Again, how blessed am I that, even when something bad happens, it's the good version of bad. The tumor's already shrinking after 2 weeks. I can see it. So, My wife leaves me notes back. You've got this. It's going to be a great day, when it was the first day of Healing Rays. So we have all this love fest going on in the mirror. And I look at that every morning when I wake up. First thing I do is brush my teeth, look in that mirror and go, it's going to be a great day. And I see that on there and I'm watching the countdown, and it's wild too, because everything I have practiced has really come into play to serve me perfectly through this cancer. So my wife and I are active realtors. And one of my philosophies is, from some of the past podcasts are, you know, my triangle of a perfect life, the base of that pyramid is bringing your best self, which is what this podcast is about, bringing your best self. One side of the pyramid is high skills, like being excellent, whatever it is you choose to do. The other side of the pyramid is high standards, right? Because if you have great skill and you show up as your best self, but you have low standards, you try to do too much to too many people just to make a buck or whatever it is, and everything is going to crumble. And then the center of that pyramid is optimism. I think it was Atomic Habits who said it, optimism is a performance enhancing drug. And I love that way of saying it because it's true. Like if you don't believe something can happen, then you sure don't have a chance. If I don't expect to heal, that makes the healing a lot harder. So I am focused on that pyramid, high standards, high skills, best self. So what's that has allowed us to do is I'm still so far showing up every day, working all day, going to listing appointments, showing houses, because we have that efficient model set up because we're not working with just anybody and everybody. We're only working with people who are a good fit, who we believe want our help and that we can help. It allows me to actually still be successful while filling in my days with all these doctor's appointments and, procedures and everything else. So when you've built your life in a way that makes it efficient and doable, and you had plenty of time built in for the things you love, as you've heard me say in the past, work will fill the space given. So I choose to only give it the space that allows me to pursue my passions, enjoy my life, enjoy my family, and give more than I take. And now that is serving me through this cancer because I have the extra hours in every day. The meditation. Like I said, when I'm getting those healing rays injected into me, the meditation has saved me because if you're, otherwise it's very easy to get worked up. You're not supposed to move. You can't swallow or the rays will hit the wrong place. So that meditation has made me so peaceful. The morning routine. Oh my gosh, it's served me more than ever because before it just made my life great. Now it's saving me because it's giving me the extra dose of mindset that I need to get through all this. Choosing my response. Like I said, thinking about myself as a superhero being injected with healing powers instead of, all the other negative things I could say and going to such victim places. It is choosing your response. That's what we talk about on this podcast. It's the most beautiful thing, right? We don't control what happens in life. Nobody. You don't get to control it. You might think you do. You can do all your business plans and you can set up everything and here's how it's going to be. And, a lot of it may happen the way you plan it, but a lot of it won't. Most of it won't. And usually not the way you think it's going to happen, but your ability to be like, wah, light on your feet and adapt and adjust to whatever happens because you get to choose your response. That's the gold. And that's what I'm experiencing. I'm getting to choose my response. I'm not getting weighed down. I'm not negative. I'm not heavy. I'm just still, my goal is to spread joy in a 20-foot radius wherever I go. As I always say, expect the best and react well to the worst. So it is incredible how walking the walk has been so rewarding. We are leaving in June for Europe as we always do. I'm planning on being cancer-free and in great shape. Another example of the circle of control. Unfortunately, here we are at the end of week 2. I can't taste anything. I'm a chef. I live for food and I can't taste anything. It is almost justification for suicide, right? Like if you can't taste bacon, you guys can understand that, right? Like it is crazy. I cook up this stuff because in my head, I'm thinking about these flavors, right? And I sear this steak off and I make these roasted potatoes and I do this beautiful chimichurri and I taste nothing. So again, what could I do? I could say, oh, poor me. I'm a chef. This isn't fair. I can't taste. But But no, what I'm saying is I'm going to mind taste the crap out of everything. I am going to think in my head about every flavor combination that I'm going to create when my tastes are back. And I'm still going to make it my ultimate challenge to cook for the ones I love. My daughter is seeing somebody and this new guy, and he's going to come over for dinner this week, and I'm going to cook up a storm. And, my goal again is going to be to vend joy through my mind tasting, even though I'm not going to be able to taste it myself. I'm looking at it as an opportunity to elevate my other senses, right? I took a walk with my daughter the other morning. I'm smelling the lavender and the flowers and the trees. I'm looking at the beautiful blue sky. I'm going to work harder than ever to be as present as possible and take in all the other senses because, taste I'm just not going to have for a while. They say 6 to 9 months. Again, I'm going to expect the best. Maybe I'll get it back in 2 months. I'm going to set a record. If it takes a year, then it's going to be a year. I'm going to deal with it and react well to the worst. So that's just some of my little cancer highlights. I hope that you can constantly work to stay in the circle of control. Remember, the circle of control, the things you can affect. That's why I have this tattoo. Anything comes up in your life, whatever it is, there is no exceptions. Just ask yourself, can I affect this? What can I actually do to have an impact on this? If you have an answer, then do that and be inspired while you're doing it. Make a change in the world. Awesome. If you can't make an impact or you're not willing to, then you have to trust that it's outside your circle and you're going to let it go because then your circle will grow. And this endless irony that I want to reinforce is it sounds selfish. Oh, it's only me and my circle, but it's not because when you're focused in the circle of control, you keep making your life better, which makes the lives of those around you better, which makes your circle and their circle keep expanding. And sooner or later, all those circles will overlap with each other around the world and we'll have a better place to be. It'll be a better life. If you're focused on all those things outside the circle, they're going to keep putting pressure on the circle. They're going to crumble it. They're going to squeeze it and potentially collapse it if you let these things affect you enough. We went and saw Eckhart Tolle a couple weekends ago, and I love that guy, The Power of Now. If you haven't read it, it's the most important book to read. It's honestly the only book that you ever have to read, really, if you want to show up as your best self and have a great life, because it is a wild concept that all that ever matters is the moment. You never have more than one thing on your to-do list, the thing in front of you. You never have more than one person to think about, the person in front of you. You never have anything else going on but what's happening right now. And when you do that, anxiety and depression are gone because anxiety and depression only come as a result of the gap between here and wherever it is that your head's at that's not here. So keep that in mind. Love you all. So grateful for the support. Have a beautiful day. Enjoy that circle.